Hello everyone, my name is Dayron Shaheen. I'm an electrical engineering student at Florida International University, and I will be presenting my project for my Introduction to Digital Forensics class. My digital forensics project will be to investigate an Android device. My own personal Android device, it is the Moto X by Motorola. It's an Android version running 4.4.2. It's a relatively new phone by Motorola. Again, Motorola is bought by Google, so I mean it should be an interesting phone. There's not a lot of things out there for this phone yet, as far as applications and whatnot. So this should be interesting. Okay, everyone. So to start off, I will do the most obvious thing. I will connect my Android device through a micro USB to a USB 2.0. So I'm gonna connect that, and now I'm gonna go over here to computers. To computer, and then here's the device right here. Unfortunately, the device is displayed as a portable media player instead of a removable storage or possibly a hard disk. So as of right now, it'll make it a lot more difficult because when we try to open programs such as ProDiscover, let's just put project number 1, project file name 1. When we try to capture an image of any sort, it's not going to read it because it's not any type of drive. And when we try to create an image while using a program such as an FTK Imager, again, we won't be able to create the image because it's, again, not an actual physical drive. So right here we're trying to create a physical drive for it. We're trying to get it from a physical drive, but the only drive we see here is our main computer drive. Logical drive, we're not really using a virtual device, or it's not implemented as a logical drive, so as we can see, it's not here either. So yeah, that will, as of right now, will make it a little bit harder. Okay guys, so as one of our trials, as you saw, we tried to do the simplest thing possible. Try to connect the phone to the computer through a micro USB to USB 2.0 connection. As you guys saw, it displays it only as a media device, as a portable media device, instead of a mass storage or a sort of drive. Some examples of that would be a USB, external hard drive, even an SD card. So since we're unable to do that, we're going to try to go around it, and we're going to try to mount it as a physical drive, create an image, and then save that image to an external drive, and then save it back to the computer. The reason why we're going to have to do that is because we're going to be using a Linux version to be able to mount the drive. The Linux we're going to be using is a Kali Linux version 1.0. We will be opening Linux, this Linux version, through a boot disk. We're doing this in order to limit the amount of things we have to install to the computer. So instead of having to install a virtual environment or some sort of virtual device that you can create and then basically start up Linux at that, we're using just the boot disk to simplify it. There are some downsides, like you saw, you have to go back and forth. You have to go from Linux to the regular computer, boot it from the regular OS, etc. So there's that downside, but again, you don't have to install so many things on your computer. It depends on your preference. So I will be doing that now and showing to you guys the outcome, if there is any positive or negative outcome. Okay guys, so like I said, we're going to be running a Kali Linux. So we'll see how this goes. I apologize for moving the camera. For this recording, I obviously need to use some type of other device. In this case, I'm using the actual phone. So I'm clicking here to open the Linux in this format. So it's initializing. This will take a while. So yeah, basically in the essence of time, I'm gonna stop this and then continue after all of this is run through. Okay guys, so here we have our Kali Linux open. It's a pretty cool slogan. I'm not sure if you guys can see it. It says, "The quieter you are, the more you can listen." That's actually pretty cool. So now what we're going to do is we're going to come here to the command box to start doing some Linux writing. I think first and foremost we should try to get some type of internet connection. So we're going to see what we can do there in case we need to do any type of updates or anything of that sort. So we have this is my home network. So I'm going to put in my home encryption key. Obviously I can't show it, so I'm not going to click that. Right over here we have, there you go, successfully connected. Okay, so now we have the command window open. First of all, we need to install the MTP tools for Kali Linux. The reason why is that the Moto X uses Media Transfer Protocol, which is MTP, as a way of transferring data itself, and that's actually one of the main reasons why it comes out as a portable device instead of actually some type of external hard drive or something like that. So now we are going to use a line of code that we got from the internet, from the actual Moto X website. From the Kali website. Okay. Sudo. I'm going to install the package for the MTP tools. Typing with one hand, so I apologize for the slow typing. Okay, unable to locate package MTPFS. Well, that's not good. Okay, so also in the essence of troubleshooting our problem, I also didn't record everything I was doing in the meantime, but I do have the results right over here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you guys can see, and I'll try to hold it as steady as I can. So the problem began all the way up here. Let me get you there. Okay, so we tried to follow these instructions and basically install the tools that are used to deal with MTP. Usually MTP doesn't deal well with Linux from the research I was conducting because it's too slow. MTP usually used to transfer media files such as audio, video, etc., which is ideal for smartphones of that sort. But apparently it's too slow. Regardless where you try to use it, it was going fine until it got to a point where it says unable to locate package MTPFS. So I tried to do different things, detect if there are any MTP devices connected, if it would just connect, download itself, install itself. Apparently it doesn't work that way, so what I tried to do next, tried one last time, and then after that I figured I'd try to update. So I did that. It updated a couple of files, as you can see right over here. The sizes are on the right, so I updated all those files, etc. Then it came over here and I tried it again, apt get install mtpfs, etc. Same information as before, so I was unable to locate the package mtpfs. So unfortunately we're not going to be able to use Linux for this for one reason or another. Apparently, like I said, it's either too new of a program, or the phone it's not compatible with this, or it's just the Linux itself, it might be outdated, just might not have the tools for this. So we're going to exit this now. Alright guys, so as you guys saw, we tried to use Linux to mount the phone drive as a physical drive to then be able to transfer it back and use it on the regular OS and then create the image through there, etc. But unfortunately we weren't able to do that due to the fact that there's a lack of compatibility between Kali and the actual phone itself, the MTP tools. So we're looking for a second alternative now, or in this case a third alternative. I I downloaded this program off a website that's used by Android developers. So they have different applications for different Androids, etc. There's very little application for Moto X. I was just luckily able to find this one. So this one's called the Moto X Toolkit. This one has different things. First and foremost, I would actually recommend to install the drivers for the Moto X onto your PC, just to simplify things. And then lastly, we will back up and restore the apps. The way we will do this is simultaneously on your phone. You will want to install an app called Helium. This is basically an app sync and backup type of app. Choose the backup option and make sure that your phone is in USB debugging mode and an MTP mode as well. And as soon as you click backup and restore, which is option 4, you just go ahead and click at it now. And then it'll give you options. It'll allow you to restore your apps, data, and SD card. What I would recommend is to get the whole image. I would restore the apps, data, and the SD card. This will get you the whole image of the entire phone. Similarly, you could also basically back up just one app, but I don't recommend it unless you have a very specific reason for that. And obviously, from that backup, you can restore it. You see right over here, it tells you which app it's going to save it in. So we're going to try to find that folder now. It's called backup. That's not it. Damn. It's gonna be backup. It's just nope, couldn't find it. Let's try to look for it the old way. Computer. It's gonna be, so this is the file I got from Toolkit. Backup, got it. And then since we're gonna be doing all of them, it's gonna be 4. Which will save, okay, which I'm guessing would be all. There you go. So this is the backup that I had downloaded originally. You see right over here. So after the backup is complete, it came up to be about a total of 4 gigs, more or less. The phone itself is a capacity of 16 gigs. 5 gigs of it is said to be OS. While 11 gigs are used for basically different type of space, for apps, pictures, etc. There's a total used gigabytes of 9 gigs on the phone. So apparently this is sort of a compressed file. It's an Android backup file as a type of file that we see here. As we can see, not rename, I'm sorry, properties. It is an extension .ab. That extension, while I was doing some research, I saw stands for Applix Builder File, as you can see right over here. So this type of extension, after looking at fileextension.org, it can be opened with different files, different systems, I'm sorry, and it has different purposes itself. So what I did was that I opened it with an application called Droid Explorer. Unfortunately, Droid Explorer kept crashing. Unable to locate Android SDK tools, please reinstall the application. So I reinstalled the application 2 to 3 times. I kept getting the same error, unfortunately. The SDK is downloaded with Eclipse. So this SDK manager has different applications and different tools on it. As you can see, I figured that because it was using Android 4.4.2 that we would need this one. And as you can see, the actual platform is downloaded itself. So I don't seem to know what's going on. The tools, again, it's installed as well. So I don't seem to know. So as of right now, we tried 4 different ways to get the image. So far all we were able to do is get a backup, and then I'm guessing from this point on we will need to find some sort of conversion tool to convert from an AB file extension to .eve, .iso, some type of imaging extension, or just to decompress it and then create a partition and save that data in there. So in doing that, creating a an image of it and then doing a forensics run on it to find any type of deleted text or file. This can all be simply done using a more advanced package or a more advanced system such as an XRY system, but because not a lot of us have the funds or basically the access to these type of systems, I try to show you guys a way. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to. I tried showing several ways to try to mount the image and or try to produce an image out of it, but unfortunately we weren't able to. As you guys recall, the first one was just connecting it with USB, but it came out as a portable device, not as an external hard drive or a mass storage device, such as how USBs, external hard drives would come out. The second one, we tried to use a Linux, a free application to Kali, and we booted it from a disk. But unfortunately this didn't work as well due to the incompatibility between the MTP format of the new Androids nowadays, and the Kali itself apparently didn't have the sufficient tools for it. So that could be part of the failure for that one. The third option was the backup. We actually succeeded in creating a backup, but it was quite useless because it was a sort of compressed file with the extension .ab. This extension is used by Android to back up their phones for such cases as corruption or anything of that sort. You can back it up and restore it for a later date. So it's good for the purpose of restoring and backing up, but it's not actually good for what we wanted it. So that was completely unsuccessful. So now the last part, we tried to convert that .ab file into another type of file, or simply use an actual program that's used to image that to see what the AB compresses inside. But unfortunately the program kept crashing. We tried I tried to download all the tools, all the SDK tools for it, but apparently couldn't find any of the SDK tools as well. So even though it was a failure, in and of itself, I believe it was some type of success for it. I got experience with a lot of different programs itself, ProDiscover, FTK Imager, Kali Linux. I'm not a very big Linux user, but I was able to use it and use the code on it as well. So on and of itself, I learned a lot from this project. I hope you guys did too. If you guys see anything or are able to run anything or where I failed, please let me know. It was quite frustrating, but in the end it was again a learning experience that I'm sure we'll learn a lot from. Thank you very much for your time and attention. You have a wonderful day.